So this is another one of those episodes that just comes this close to being really great, and instead ends up just kind of being there. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, yes, we're having an Amidala-focused episode where she's going to be politicking and intriguing and maneuvering her way and out-intelligenting. I have a brain, I swear. You know, outthinking her opponents, showing how she's contributing to the war effort just as much as Obi-Wan or Anakin are. And I feel like that was the intent, but instead all I can think of this whole episode is, what are you doing? First problem. She gives this big speech about how they have to reduce the amount of how many troops they're building. Now, obviously deterrence is something that's been discussed many, many times, and real-life history has proven is not exactly a deterrent. However, she never gives any arguments for her side. That actually irritated me a little bit. Instead, she just says, by making more troops, we will escalate the war. We must follow the path to peace. We must seek diplomacy. But no specifics. Now, I know her speech was all supposed to be about this big, charismatic, grandstanding thing. But the episode never bothers to show us their side. They never give any kind of answer for how to actually make a military, I can't think what that's called, a mothballing effort work. Instead, they just kind of make vague promises about diplomacy. We need to open up avenues of diplomacy. Which is ridiculous on the face of it, given what they're facing, but also ridiculous given the fact that we know, as the audience, that the Separatists aren't having diplomacy for 3 reasons. Corporate, Dooku, and Palpatine, in order. There's no way the Separatists would actually accept some kind of diplomatic solution here. And there's no way Dooku would ever go with it either, because, again, the Separatists are cartoonishly evil. They're not the kind who are going to be like, oh yes, we will totally make peace, and then we will betray you, stab, is about what would happen there. And of course, obviously, Palpatine couldn't allow for that to happen because he's got his own plans. He needs the financial might of the Separatists to fund his empire. So what's her argument? She comes across as, well, to be frank, she comes across as what a lot of fictional revolutionaries come across as. We must bring down the evil government. Okay, then what? But we won! We beat the evil guys! Yeah, but now what? You know? It makes her come across as just a little bit too surface level, which is another word for stupid, and I think that's doing her a disservice. Then we have the problem with the fact that the episode goes way out of its way to present Sir Evil Warmonger Senator, and, oh god. Actually, I take that back, because basically I guessed that it was Nal, or whatever her name was, the other Rhodian, very early on. Basically, mostly because of the construction of the episode, not because of any given hints. It was just, oh yes, I am super evil. Okay, it's not him. Oh yes, I am incredibly aristocratic and arrogant. Okay, it's not her. In the former, it's because he's just kind of but I like what they did with the Kaminoan? Yeah. The woman. Because the whole idea was that she saw herself as above all of this. There was a sort of arrogance that naturally oozed through her. And the one and only time she lost her cool was when she realized that they were accusing her of something that she actually hadn't done. And that she had no defense about that. She was like, wait, no. No, I didn't do this. I'm innocent. What are you talking about? I didn't actually kill him. And it's like, yeah, no, of course you didn't. You would never dirty your hands with that. Right? As she herself pointed out, she has that sort of I'm beyond you thing. And people who have a particular sort of I'm beyond you air generally don't lower themselves to actually murdering their opposition because they're beyond them. Now, inconsistent writing could obviously lead to that, but you get the point. Anyways. I will admit I was wrong about one thing. Obviously, I've seen this episode before, but when I first watched this, I remember guessing that it was her very early on. And I remember being like, yeah, it's her. And she's probably being pushed by the Separatists, or maybe she's just... Actually, I changed my mind about that very early. I was like, no, she's probably in it for the position. She wants to be the one in charge. And I was kind of right, because she does want to be the one in charge. But I wasn't expecting her to actually be part of the pacifist movement. One of the groups that actually legitimately believes in Amidala's side and cause, and legitimately thinks that pulling out of the war and trying diplomatic means is the right option, and therefore she has to murder him. I didn't call that. And that's probably the one thing about this episode that really struck me as amusing, and thus makes this episode overall, actually enjoyable, because that's a nice twist. Anyways. Also, for a little bit, I entertained the idea that it was Inspector Jackass. The problem is, once again, he was too obviously a target, and every time he's actually involved in things, he doesn't come across as, oh, you're beneath me, or basically, he doesn't come across as someone who is deliberately obstructing justice, just someone who really hates his job, and just kind of has that sort of, I guess I gotta go do this. Do you know how much paperwork I gotta fill out now? Oh my god. Senators, I swear. And you actually kind of feel for him a bit, because really, as much as Hollywood has kind of taught us that the good guys going off to do the right thing is the right thing, regardless of laws or legality or justice or anything like that, in real life, it's a little more complicated than that. And she should, if anything, I would say that this episode shows the ridiculous amount of leeway that senators have when it comes to the law. That they basically did things that functionally broke the law, but it doesn't matter, because that's the level of clearance that senators get. That they just can do that sort of thing and get away with it. It takes the murder for them, it actually takes a murder for a senator to actually be brought in. Anyways, that's all I got. Hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you next time.